Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. So it's a bit of an update time. However, I've realised because it's been 2 weeks since the first video, people aren't going to know what's going on and people don't tend to go back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recap what happened, tell the whole story up to now because there's a lot. And if you are completely up to date with the last video, go to this timestamp here, and this is when I went back to the hospital. So from the beginning, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I was out on my DRZ 400SM, just running some local errands. I'd been riding my XJ6 all week, so I've been quite used to riding that, and I was on my DR and I wasn't really thinking about what I was doing, and I forgot the fact that the DR has a separate steering lock. Yes, it's very dumb. Watch the first video if you want like the full story. Bike went over, I went with it, and I landed with the handlebars already on the ground. I landed with all my weight into the handlebars, and it got me right up in the groin. Knocked the meat and potatoes out of the way. Someone got annoyed that I mixed up a couple of terms in the past of that one. Smashed those out of the way, caused a bit of a cut on the inside of my leg, and a massive swelling started to form. And I've been taking pictures along the way, so later in this video I'm going to show you like a little progression of what it did from the first hour to what it is like now. It's mental, it really is mental. But anyway, fell off, hurt leg in a stupid way, went back home, and within a few hours, like this little welt, which I'll show you in the pictures later, turned into a big balloon of what seemed like blood. And late, I knew that was a hematoma. I knew what was going on. I knew this was going to take a bit of time to heal, but I was a bit like, because it was huge. So I called 111, and after a lot of discussions about whether I'd fallen down the stairs 6 times, or whether I had bones sticking out of my legs like 4 times, or if I had an amputation issue, loads and loads of silly questions that didn't make any sense because they're going through a checklist. Eventually, a clinician was told to ring me. They did. I was told to go to A&E. I went to A&E. They said to me, a hematoma is not serious. Go away. Go to an urgent treatment centre. But they're busy now, so you're going to want to do that tomorrow. So I'd ridden myself to A&E, by the way, with this massive sack of blood on my leg, and went back home. Obviously, after doing that, my leg was particularly annoyed for the first few days, so it took me a couple of days to get down to a urgent treatment centre. They looked at my leg and went, yep, that's nasty. It appears to be a hematoma, so you've been doing what you should be doing, carry on as is. A few days after that, things are just not quite right. It's really starting to turn into a very hard lump, and I'm getting pains in the back of my leg, and I'm like, I hope this isn't a torn muscle. But also, I haven't been really given any advice as to how to treat this exactly, or what's the best things to do, or if there is any medication that can help with it or anything like that. I'm fine with just, taking nothing and letting it heal, take time, because the body's amazing at doing that. But I have also in the past walked on a broken foot for 18 months because they missed it in a x-ray after a crash, and that led to surgery. And I just didn't want to go down that line of like, well, if you'd come here 2 weeks ago, things would have been okay, but now they're going to be bad. So I spoke to my local GP surgery because I wanted just to get an appointment with them to just double check that they thought everything was going okay and to give me any advice they could. The way it works with our local doctors is that you have to do an e-consultation. So I filled out the forms, sent a picture of my leg. Not long after I sent this, she got in contact with me, the doctor, and said, right, I'm putting a letter on the desk for you. You or someone needs to pick that up, and you need to get yourself up to A&E. I'm not happy with that at all. That looks bad. And I'm like, oh God, please don't tell me it's a muscle, because that's the biggest fear. I'm hoping it's just a sack of blood that will go away. I can deal with that. But if it's muscular, it's surgery, it's time for waiting for that, it's recovery time, which is always worse than the injury itself, nearly always, but it does fix it in the end. And I would like, please no, please don't be that. So letter in hand, went down to A&E, that was Friday, just gone, and it had been 10 days since it had happened. And the reason why she wanted me to get to the hospital to have it doubly checked is basically because if you're having a muscle surgery fix, it normally has to be done within 14 days, and it'd been 10, and time for waiting for operations and stuff. She wanted me to get this thing checked. So back down to A&E again on the bike. I tell you something, the roads around Portsmouth and the A27, they're relatively smooth, and I know this because I have this pain receptor cell in my leg now that moves with gravity. I got on the island and it's just like, ow, 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 at every single bump. The roads are so bumpy around here compared to like the other bits. It's amazing how you have this like extra pain sensor so you can feel. Anyway, got to A&E, spoke to them at the door. was told that I was turned away last time. Here's a letter. Please don't do it again. And they went, oh, well, looking at what my doctor had said, I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry, you shouldn't have been turned away, sort of thing. Like, well, I was, whatever. Where am I going? And they said, right, get over to the urgent treatment centre here because you don't want to wait in A&E. So I went over there. And so it goes better and better. So I get there and I get checked in and I'm having a chat with the reception triage nurse, the person who basically first talks to you and takes all your stats and just sort of sees what the issue is to pass on to the doctors who then treat you. And she had a right go, no wasps, she had a right go at me for riding my bike in. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry, but I can't really afford to pay 50 quid for a taxi there and back. If you're just going to turn me away again like you have last time. And if you understand the history I've had with the NHS of having, like, you know, less use of my thumb because a surgery was missed for 5 weeks and also walked on a broken foot for 18 months because it was missed, I don't have a huge amount of trust in you. And my plan is this, that if I came down here and you say, yes, that's something that needs surgery, well, I'm going to have to ride the bike back home and get a taxi and get back here immediately. That's okay because I know I'm getting treatment, but I can't just do that willy-nilly anytime I come down here. And she was like, well, you shouldn't be right. And I'm like, oh, I understand that, but I quantified it as being safe. And it's my left leg, it's gear leg. So, you know, I can change gear okay, brakes, everything else is completely fine. You know, people ride with one arm and stuff, so get over it. Anyway, it was a friendly, joshing discussion, as it were. And then I went into the waiting room. Eventually I got seen by the doctors. They looked at it. Then they got an orthopaedic surgeon down to have a look at it. And he's like, right, it is blood. They haven't done any scans or anything, but they're like, we're confident this is just blood. It's a hematoma, as you know. What you've been doing is fine, apart from don't use cold stuff anymore. Use warm stuff, because I've been using cold compresses to stop the bleeding. That's correct in the first few days. After that, it's good to use warm because it circulates blood around the area and I have to get rid of this, you know, this mass of blood that's sat in my leg. The orthopaedic surgeon said, you know, it should be fine. It's going to take a while to get better on its own. So it's going to be a couple of weeks, month, maybe something for it to start going down. It could be a long time. We don't know, basically. But they don't, the only concern I have to make sure is it doesn't get infected. Because if it gets infected, obviously I get septicemia and that's a problem. But obviously I think if they drain it, there's more chance of getting an infection maybe by opening it. So it's better to just let the body do its thing. And as I say, at this point, I think, I mean, the bruising's still mostly there, and it's like, it's travelled down to the back of my knee. So it hit me right up in the groin, and it's travelled to the back of my knee. I'm 6'4". My leg's like this long, that section. It's like drained, it's weird. It's okay, but it's pretty painful, and it's just going to be a matter of time before it gets done. The orthopaedic surgeon did also say, he said that was clearly a huge injury to start with. So I think, yeah, I got really unlucky and got really badly hurt. So I would have to call this my second worst crash. The first one was in the side of a car because they pulled out on me. And as I say, that's where I got the surgery in my hand and my foot and my knees messed up and my back's messed up and all that. The second worst was a huge hematoma on my leg caused by forgetting to take my steering lock off. You just have to laugh at this stuff. It's just like, it's just unlucky is what it is. So yes, as I say, it's 2 weeks tomorrow that it happened. I suspect it'll be another 2 weeks before I'm more up and about, but that is a complete guess. I have to basically lay down a lot because if I stand up, the gravity goes to it and it really annoys it. And then the whole area gets sore and it's better to just rest and wait, which is, as I've said before, very frustrating for me when I need to work. But I have no other choice to do what I'm doing, but what I'm doing, so I have to be okay with it. A huge thanks to the support that people have supported me. Over the past couple of weeks, I've had a few little donations and things just to help me with stuff, and I really do appreciate that. And that's kind of where we are. However, I did mention earlier, I'll show you the pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a slideshow on the computer, and I'll talk you through them there. Okay, before I start this, word of warning, you're going to see a bit of blood, some grazing, and some swelling on the inside of my legs. So if you don't want to do all that, look away, or skip further on. You have been warned. Okay, so this is within an hour of it happening. As you can see, I've got this big welt that has appeared here, and this sort of grazing, ripping from, I think it's from clothing, pulling, and also getting smacked by the end of the bar. Painful. I'm now strategically using paint. So that's that welt, and this is all blood. You see this massive, massive, like, swelling? That is all blood, and that happened, that is 1 hour after the crash. You can see why I spoke to 111. This is in the evening of the first day that it happened. This is the following day. This is 5 days after it happened. This is now 10 days after it's happened. Still see this massive swelling of blood here. And obviously the bruising is now getting down my leg. And this is today. As you can see, the bruising's going away, although it's now extended all the way down to the back of my knee. But this mass of blood still remains, this large swelling, and this is the hematoma. This is the issue. So there you go. There is my leg. That's the sort of state it's in from such a silly little thing. And it will just be time for it to get healed. I have content I'm planning to film at home. I've done a couple of videos already while I've been off the bike. I've got some bits coming so I can do something else, and I'm going to just do what I can. As I say, I really appreciate the support from people. It is kind of sad that the crash videos have had so many more views than my normal videos. It's like, all right, so if I get hurt, you're interested. Oh, God, but yeah. So that's where we are, as I say. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching this and caring to even find out what's going on with me. And, you know, in a couple of weeks, in a month's time, things will be completely back to normal, and we will forget that this ever happened. Well, we won't forget. We will remember about the steering lock every single time. But we'll forget about this little incident. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.